doing the COT data video for the week beginning the 7th of August. And so we went a little bit risk off on Friday. We had some news about Apple, and Apple shares really declined. They fell nearly 5%, and that sent the US tech south, and the rest of the indices sort of followed NASDAQ. And so we really pumped on the technical risk calc, and we come back down again. So we basically ended up where we started the day. So we're quite risk off at the beginning on Friday. We really pumped, and then we're back to where we started. So over 50, I would say, would be risk on. Below 50 is risk off. Okay, and we saw a change on the 24-hour difference. So we might have peaked on the sentiment on the indices. And it's worth just bringing you to your attention the bubbles. We've got Aussie weakness, and Swiss is the strongest. Dollar is right there in the middle, and we've got Kiwi is also weak as well. So let's show you the COT data. So bear in mind the dollar is in the middle, right? It's not strong or weak, but it could be fundamentally strong looking at this. Okay, it's because the dollar will act as a safe haven. If things go sour, then the money will rush into the US treasuries, and the yields will rise, and that'll push dollar higher. Okay, so bear that in mind. So while this is from Tuesday, this is obviously has been some days since Tuesday, and there has been developments from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So just bear in mind, we might be a little bit risk off on Monday, tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. So the dollar did decline, but we're not below zero, and the euro did decline as well. 177 to 172. 6,000 to 3,000. So they're both in decline. So the Euro USD currency pair will be a little bit tricky this week because of that. Let's put on yen. Now the yen had moved on the bubble, and we'd come off the lows, but a little bit sideways. Yeah, just slightly more negative. 2,000 contracts. More negative. We're coming away from zero, but we are off those lows. Okay, let's take the euro off. Now we'll put on Aussie. Aussie was chopping, and we're slightly more negative than we were. 50,000 to 51,000. So they increased their bearish bets on the Aussie. Aussie off, pound on. Now pound will be interesting because we really pumped, and look what happened. I said it was looking toppy, and we have come down. And what I think sometimes with this COT data, it pumps in order to get a good price to sell. So that's the thing we have to think about it. We have to think, what the banks and institutions are doing. They won't want to, sell here. They want to push price higher up in order to sell. Okay, so likewise, they pushed it down in order to buy. And that's the logic. Okay, so you have to think like, it's a bit counterintuitive, but the COT data should help. And I was saying how this would possibly be toppy because we had a knee jerk here, and then we're seeing continuation on the pound. And so 58,000 to 49,000, so quite a decrease in positions there. So that was good. That was if you watched last week's video, I was saying that about the pound, and that worked out. So that was quite good. Pound off, CAD on. CAD USD, we have the dollar CAD sell now, but I was just posting some stuff in Discord, and it looked like the dollar CAD was quite strong. We had a very much of a V scenario where the dollar CAD fell, and of course the risk appetite soured, right? And then we've got the dollar USD, it caught some fuel under the fire, and it pumped the dollar quite a bit. So dollar CAD came down, looked like it was a sell, and then up, and we basically closed above the day prior high. So that's technically quite bullish. So this I'm a little bit suspicious of. If we go risk off, then this isn't going to work out because the USD will appreciate over the Canadian dollar if we as a safe haven. So be careful there. Fundamentally, looking at the COT data in a vacuum, it's a dollar CAD sell, but I think we might be a bit risk off on Monday, but we'll have to wait and see. Uh, gold. Gold's are sideways, aren't we now? We're basically just in this range. You see, they've decreased 193 to 164, so it's quite decreased there. Gold off, and then we'll look at Kiwi. Probably sideways, I imagine. It looks like we might try and get an NU long, but remember we had a rejection here, and we haven't got the crossover yet. So it'd be a big week for the New Zealand dollar USD, and a big week for the dollar CAD as well, the Canadian dollar and US dollar. So I think we might see a repeat of this, and then we'll see a rejection. And the New Zealand dollar is definitely risky compared to the USD, so that will suffer poorly if we go risk off. And then when I mean risk off, I mean indices are going to fall. There's not much appetite for New Zealand dollar if things start puking on risk. That's going to be sold off, while the USD will be bought. And Swiss franc, and then that's it. And that'll be today's this week's COT data video, just sideways on the Swiss franc. So nothing to comment on there, just chopping and just sideways basically. So keep an eye on Kiwi USD, keep an eye on the dollar CAD. And the pound was also quite a good spot as well from last week. So we might potentially be risk off tomorrow, so just remember to be careful. And tomorrow's bulletin will help identify risk on, risk off, because we'll look at the indices. So hopefully that's useful. And any likes and subscribes would be cool. I'd much appreciate that. And I wish you a good day, and I'll speak to you guys soon.